we think about resilience in sort of a physical, like, do you have muscles? But our nervous system is really the most important tool to build resilience. And when we're building resilience through breath work, through the full capacity of a full inhale and a full exhale, as Jared said, breathing more efficiently, so not having this shallow, narrow breathing or more breaths per minute, that is actually building up really the integrity of our whole life force body system. And that's really the kind of resilience that we're talking about, resilience of the nervous system, because it's just a dictator of so many things. So how do you guys feel?
Good. Relaxed.
Yeah.
Something like what's interesting about that for me is that it's super simple. It's not really a technique. You're just bringing awareness to the breath. You're then manipulating it in a particular way, and we're slowing down our breath with that one typically. And so by just slowing down and taking fewer breaths per minute, we're going to naturally shift very easily into a parasympathetic state. So I feel relaxed.
Mhm. Also,
How about
something I
you,
found
Patrick?
interesting is that I had a recently on actually a previous episode with our scientific advisor, John Dickinson, and he was talking about the breathing pattern disorders where people are not utilizing mechanically the body in the right way to breathe properly. And what he mentioned was like, a good breath, just scientifically, is one where the rib cage expands in all directions. So I think your description of the barrel actually is very kind of visually useful, where it kind of connects, think about the right muscles doing the work, and might be quite useful for a lot of people who don't even know how to breathe in the kind of quote unquote right way.
Yeah, I'd add to that too. When we get to our practices pathway, one of the components that we like to add in is combining breath with movement. So I'm very much into qigong right now, but things like qigong or yoga or different movement practices, or even while you're working out, breathing in an intentional way. But a lot of that qigong and yoga stuff is really about stretching your intercostal muscles, the muscles in your ribs, to really allow more expansion in your ribs and give your diaphragm and your room to kind of go contract downward, give your lungs uh, area to expand into. And so it's great for a mind body connection, those kind of movement practices, but also that practical, just like stretching the muscles to give yourself more area to breathe into can really be helpful.
Something you mentioned, I think earlier, Alice, was the creativity component, and I was curious, like, if you've looked into like how does breathing relate to creativity, if it does, and then just if you looked into it, it's like physiologically, why would that happen? Like, why would the creativity be better with having connection with your breathing?
Yeah. So yeah, as an architect and sort of coming from a creative background, I remember back in architecture school, and it was like, how do you get ideas? And sometimes when we're trying to solve a problem or be innovative, we're pushing. What I've noticed is the more of my practices that I have in the morning and the more breath work I do, whether it's chanting or jumping on my trampoline or yoga, um, when you're doing breath work, it's a soft focus. And there's all sorts of research that shows when we have soft focus, it's sort of like why you get the great ideas in the shower. It's because the mind is sort of holding that idea, whatever is evolving very gently. And with the breath work, my experience is that it's giving it more space. And it's almost like a landing pad. Those are usually when the ideas have a great space to land and they just kind of pop in. And so sometimes we have this illusion that, like, well, why would I spend 20 minutes doing chanting in the morning as breathwork practice? That's kind of my favorite breathwork practice. Over and over again, when I spend that 20 minutes, when I do sit down at my desk, I've kind of worked through, oh, that's how the beginning of that talk should go. And so I think it's one of the things we don't talk enough about how do we have enough time? And it's a win-win because we're getting the breath work in, we're building our nervous system, we're setting up, we're getting, whatever your device is, and I can't wait to start, you're seeing that it's making a positive impact and you're getting those ideas and you're creating that space for that to kind of come through for you. So yeah, that's what's really, and we see that in our journeys. So the journeys is the third piece of the pathway. And so sometimes people, when they're doing that more deep inner work, that self-discovery, sometimes they're working through some processing of some past experience, some type of healing, but sometimes they're also like, "Oh, I got the answer. I got that thing that's been churning." I mean, it's one of the reasons why people go to Burning Man. They want these extraordinary experiences that are out of the ordinary so that they can come up with these creative, new, innovative ideas.